Welcome back to Vintage Shots. Today, we unveil the gritty reality behind the legends of the American Old West. Was it truly a land of heroes, or just a cleverly crafted myth? Let's discover the truth together. Jesse James, the most notorious criminal and crime boss of the old frontier. A name that has become a symbol of the Wild West. But the legend you know is a falsehood. For over a century, he's been celebrated as a Robin Hood figure, a man who supposedly stole from the wealthy to provide for the poor. But modern historians have rejected this theory. After decades of research, there's no evidence, absolutely none, that Jesse James ever shared a single cent of his loot without anyone outside of his own gang. His path to infamy began in the fires of the American Civil War, where he fought for the Confederate Army alongside his brother. When the war ended, he didn't stop. He drifted through various outlaw groups until the birth of the ruthless James Younger gang. So how did a cold-blooded thief become a hero? The answer lies in 1869 with a man named John Newman Edwards. This Missouri editor was a fierce Southern sympathizer, and he used his newspaper to manufacture a legend. He painted Jesse as a Southern patriot, a Robin Hood for a broken cause. It was a masterpiece of propaganda, but the reality was a coward's end. 1882, Robert Ford. He didn't face Jesse in a duel. He waited until the outlaw's back was turned and shot him for a reward. The Robin Hood of the West was nothing more than a carefully crafted lie. Davy Crockett, an American folk icon and one of the greatest legends of the old frontier, known to the world as the King of the Wild Frontier. In 1827, he won an election to serve in the United States House of Representatives. But Crockett was a man of principle. His fierce opposition to the Indian Removal Act cost him his seat in Congress. He later played a critical role in the Texas Revolution, but it was the morning of the Battle of the Alamo in 1836 that turned his life into a haunting mystery. The details of his death remain unsettled. One version says Crockett died as a hero, fighting until his very last breath. Another version claims he surrendered and was subsequently executed by the Mexican army. Both accounts have evidence to support them, but regardless of how he fell, his legacy remains unshakable. Davy Crockett, a permanent icon of the American spirit. Elmer McCurdy was not your average outlaw. He was a notorious bank and train robber who died in a bloody shootout in 1911. But for Elmer, death was only the beginning of a bizarre journey. His body didn't find rest. It became a legend of the old frontier, a mummy that traveled across the nation. Known as the bandit who wouldn't give up, a local funeral home first displayed his preserved corpse as a stern warning to criminals. Then, in 1916, the Patterson brothers stepped in. They took the mummy to be the centerpiece of their traveling circus. For the next few years, Elmer's body appeared in B-movies and gathered dust in wax museums before vanishing entirely. The world forgot him until 1976. A television crew for the $6 Million Man made a chilling discovery, hanging in a funhouse at an amusement park. It wasn't a prop, it was Elmer. Only after this discovery, after decades as a macabre attraction, was he finally given a dignified burial. In the history of the American West, Wild Bill Hickok stands as perhaps the greatest folk hero of all. He was everything: a sharpshooter, a marshal, a gambler, and a legendary performer. He fought for the Union Army in the American Civil War, but it was his claims of winning hundreds of duels that built his myth. However, the truth is far more complex. Much of Hickok's life story was built on fabrications and blatant lies. Hickok only participated in a handful of actual duels, but he was a master of storytelling. He quickly spun extraordinary tales of his exploits, helping to shape his own legend and transforming himself into a folk hero. In 1876, the legend came to a sudden, violent stop. A failed gambler named Jack McCall assassinated Hickok during a poker game. According to folklore, at the moment he was struck, Hickok was holding two pairs, black aces and black eights. Today, that hand is forever known as the dead man's hand. Wyatt Earp, a name now synonymous with justice, but during his own lifetime, he was actually one of the most hated men in the American West. He was a lawman and a gunman who walked the dangerous streets of Deadwood, Dodge City, and the infamous Tombstone. It was in Tombstone where he, alongside his brothers James and Virgil and the legendary Doc Holliday, faced off against the Cowboys gang in the bloody gunfight at the OK Corral. But after the smoke cleared, the newspapers turned against him. They began to smear and criticize Earp harshly. His reputation darkened further in 1896 when he served as the referee for the highly controversial fight between Bob Fitzsimmons and Tom Sharkey. The media exploded with accusations of corruption and dishonesty. Even when he passed away in 1929, his obituaries didn't paint him as a hero. Instead, they focused on his notorious and questionable past. The image of the legendary lawman didn't even begin to form until 1931 with the publication of the book Wyatt Earp, Frontier Marshal. Despite his modern fame, many doubts about the truth behind his legend still remain today. Wyatt Earp, a hero created by time or a villain rewritten by history? William Frederick Cody, a name synonymous with the very heart of the American West, known to history as Buffalo Bill. Before he was a global showman, he was a bison hunter and a soldier for the Union Army during the Civil War. He earned his legendary title through blood and grit, reportedly killing over 4,000 bison in just 18 months. To cement his reputation, he defeated hunter Bill Comstock in a brutal shooting contest, winning the exclusive right to be called Buffalo Bill forever. But the myth of the man was actually born from the ink of a journalist, Ned Buntline. In 1869, after a chance meeting, Buntline began publishing exaggerated adventure stories in the New York Weekly. These fictional tales transformed Cody into a frontier superhero, a legend of the wild plains. Cody didn't just live the myth, he owned it. He capitalized on his fame by launching the massive Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, taking the frontier to the world stage. He eventually sealed his legacy in the land he loved, founding the town of Cody, Wyoming. A man who hunted a legend, then became one himself.
Martha Jane Canary, better known to the world as Calamity Jane, a legendary sharpshooter and a pioneering woman of the American West. But who was she, really? Born in 1852, Jane was a master storyteller who spent her life weaving her own myth. Known for her heavy drinking, her preference for men's clothing, and her reckless daring, she became a character larger than life. But historians often struggle to separate her fiction from reality. Take her connection to Wild Bill Hickok. In the dusty streets of Deadwood, she claimed they were the closest of friends. She even told the world they were married. But the cold facts tell a different story. Jane arrived in Deadwood just months before Hickok's death, making it highly likely they never even met. Even her famous nickname is shrouded in doubt. Jane claimed Captain Egan gave her the name Calamity after she heroically saved his life in a battle with Native Americans. But researchers, they find no record of a Captain Egan ever existing, and many believe this story was simply another fabrication.
From the wild frontier to the stage of Buffalo Bill's wild show, Jane solidified her place in history. A woman who chose her own path and wrote her own legend, even if the truth was often left in the shadows. Butch Cassidy, one of the most notorious train and bank robbers in the history of the American West. At the height of his power and fame, he stood as the undisputed leader of the legendary Wild Bunch. But by the early 1900s, the law was closing in. The Pinkerton Detective Agency began a relentless hunt for Cassidy and his closest companion, the Sundance Kid, Harry Longbaugh. Seeking an escape, the duo fled to South America alongside Etta Place, but their past finally caught up with them in Argentina. According to official reports, in 1908, Cassidy and Longbaugh were killed during a violent shootout with the Bolivian army. However, the story did not end there. To this day, their true fate remains a subject of intense controversy. Many people believe that Cassidy survived the ambush and successfully escaped his fate in South America. By the 1930s, rumors began to sweep across the United States, claiming that Cassidy had returned home as early as the 1920s. His own relatives even made a stunning claim, asserting that he had visited them in secret before finally passing away for the last time in 1937. A legend of the Wild West whose end is still buried in mystery. Kit Carson, the man hailed as the greatest pioneer in American history. At just 16 years old, he left home to become a fur trapper, eventually fighting in the Mexican-American War and the Civil War. His legendary adventures became famous across the globe, but Kit Carson was a master of his own image. Like many of his time, he helped manufacture his own myth by telling fictional and exaggerated tales of his own journeys. These cheap dime novels and sensational news reports painted him as a hero, the man who paved the way for American expansion. By the 1950s, writers were still trying to cement his legacy as a classic Western hero. But modern historians have pulled back the curtain on a darker reality. The evidence is clear. Carson was known for his horrific mistreatment and violence toward Native Americans. Many now recognize that the hero they once celebrated was actually a man of cruelty, aggression, and deep-seated racism. The legend has finally met the truth.
The Texas Rangers had many enemies, but few could match the sheer brutality of John Wesley Hardin. While contemporary records often portrayed him as a folk hero, modern historians tell a much darker story. Hardin was a man who lived to brag, a master of embellishment who frequently lied about his own adventures. He was a violent predator, confirmed to have murdered at least 27 people, though he personally claimed the number was as high as 42. In 1877, he was sent to prison, and it was there that he began writing a fabricated autobiography. This book was designed to manufacture the very legend that still surrounds him today. His life was defined by senseless violence. He once allegedly killed a man simply for snoring. Many of his most famous claims remain entirely unproven. He told tales of blinding a man to win a bottle of whiskey and even claimed to have single-handedly defeated 17 Texas Rangers. He even asserted that he had killed 2 Pinkerton agents. John Wesley Hardin, a man of blood, whose greatest invention was the myth of himself. The American West wasn't just an era, it was a testament to the myths we choose to believe. If you're ready to see the past without the filter, hit that subscribe button and join our journey. Don't forget to share this video with fellow truth seekers and let us know in the comments which of these 10 legends surprised you the most. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Vintage Shot.